What's going on today, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're here with the 6.0 again. As y'all can see, I got the engine put back in from the machine shop. I got the engine rebuilt with a Molly overhaul kit. Got it bored 20 over, stage 2 cam. Did a DIY regulator return. As y'all can see, there's the regulator. I'll walk y'all through how I did that. I didn't record how I did it, but so when I was cranking the engine over, I wasn't building any oil pressure. And I just kept wondering, why am I not building oil pressure? You know, everything's put back together the same way. I'm getting the oil bowl to fill up. I'm getting oil out of the turbo feed line, everything like that. And apart from not building, you know, enough regular oil pressure, low pressure oil to trigger the sensor, I also wasn't building enough high pressure oil. And my rails weren't filling up and I just couldn't figure it out. Well, it turns out the machine shop, they forgot to put a plug in, like a freeze plug type style. I'll show y'all an example of it here in a bit. But that plug goes behind the engine, well, behind the rear cover, behind the rear timing cover, and it goes right where the H pop goes, you know, the high pressure oil pump, and essentially it caps that oil galley so that you are able to get high pressure oil or low pressure oil fed to the high pressure oil pump. And they didn't put that plug in, so all the oil is essentially just draining back into the engine and not creating any oil pressure. And I'm gonna walk y'all through on how to, you know, not necessarily check for it, but show y'all where that plug goes in case this happens to y'all, because it took me tons and tons of research just to be able to figure out that that was my problem. And luckily I found it on a forum, and I'll put the link to that forum in the description. And that's what helped me figure it out, because the guy who posted it on the forum, he had the same issue. And that's what led me to go look at it. And I tried doing it with some like homemade pliers, like a homemade press like he had on his, but sorry for the mess, as y'all can see, but it didn't quite work out that way. Let me see where I have those pliers at. See, they're like these. So he welded a bolt here and it would go into the hole, and I'll show y'all once the engine's out how this all went. He welded a bolt here, and then he welded another plate here, and he essentially would, you know, as you're tightening these vice grips, it would push the plug in. But I decided it's just gonna be too much hassle. It's too risky to drop a plug into the engine, and I actually already dropped one, which is why I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna take the engine out. I'll put the plug in the right way. It's more work, but it'll be done right. It'll only be done once, and you know, it's not half-assing it. So that's what we got going on today, guys. And there's a bit of an update on the GTI. So the other day I was taking a left turn and I hit a curb, so there's gonna be a video on that soon. But for now, let's get going on taking the front end off again, taking the radiator out, and starting to take pieces off of this thing. All right, y'all, so check it out. So to disconnect the transmission cooler lines on the radiator on these automatic transmissions on these Fords, you need this special tool. It's a Lyle part number. I got these at Advance, but there's the tool number, and you can see right there, they say transmission oil cooler line disconnect for Ford. So I'm sure you could probably use any kind of other, you know, disconnect line tool or whatever, but I just use these just to make it easier. I've tried using other tools. They're not quite as easy as these. So let me get them opened up and I'll show y'all how to use them. Try to get a good angle here, but as y'all can see, we're under the truck. And these are the transmission cooler lines right here and right here. So you just grab your little tool, stick it in right there, like yonder. And you stick it in like that. As you can see, it's pretty well seated in there. Sorry for the poor lighting. But then you just get it in there. So I can do this. And you should just be able to pull them out. Let me see, I probably need to use the bigger size. They can be a little stubborn to come out, but they'll come out. Don't be afraid. I'm thinking you might break something. But with that, now we can take our radiator out. But there we go, our radiator's out. This cooler can just be kind of moved over to the side. Or I might just take it off entirely just to make it that much easier on myself. So as you can see, I don't know if that'll get in the shot. Right in here, this is one of your transmission filters, and there's another one in the pan. But you just use this tool the same way. You just put it on over that. Kind of pinch it in. It should slide right in. Sometimes you gotta use the bigger one. Now, there's a lot of "that's what she said" jokes. But anyways. Just get it in like that. Make sure it's seated. Can't do this with one hand. Bear with me, guys. Let's see how I can. It's about as good as I can get y'all for right now. So you'll just seat this in there all the way. And it'll pop out. Don't be afraid to kind of yank on them. They've been stuck in there since the truck was built, so you won't break anything, except maybe your tool. I broke it. But, I mean, these aren't super expensive. They're like 10 bucks, but regardless, it's still a tool you need. So hopefully we only need to use it once, since I already broke it. Or if not, I could just get another pair. So after that, we can take our transmission cooler off. So now, with the cooler off and everything, it just makes it that much easier to work since this whole engine does have to come out again, unfortunately. That's cool. We'll get to it. So something else I want to try to build just to make it easier to get this engine out of here, since we do have access to a welder, is I'll show you all over here. So right there, let's see if I can get it in view. Although you can't see it there. But basically where the turbo pedestal mounts, which is, sorry for all this mess, there's the oil cooler, which is where this bolt is. There's another one over here. There's one more right here. You can't really see it. There's not enough light coming in, and I didn't bring my underhood light. But basically we're gonna build a plate that will attach to those 4 bolts, basically grab the engine right at its center of gravity and pull it out. And I bought one of these, but obviously this is for like a carburetor. I thought it might work, give it a shot. But I'm gonna cut this off of here, and then I have some plate over here, which is kind of overkill, but I think it'll definitely do the job. It's kind of thick, probably 1/4 inch. But I'm gonna cut a piece of out of this, drill holes through it, and that's what I'll use to get the engine out. And you know, that's a great tool to have. It's not like I yank 6.0s out all the time, but when I need it, I'll have it. And there's a 12 valve I have. I think I've mentioned in a few other videos, and the 58 Mercedes. So there's a lot of cool projects, a lot of cool stuff that'll be on this channel if y'all are gonna be so generous as to subscribe and like the videos. All right, guys, so kind of late in the day, had a slight pause. My buddy came over. I had to help him install a cold air intake. But we're finally gonna start taking the engine out of this thing. I already got the power steering pump removed, so I had to take the belts off, obviously. I did do the Gates green belt upgrade with a Gates tensioner. I also did Gates idler pulleys. So a lot of what also took my time. I don't know if y'all will be able to see it just because it's dark in here, and like I said, I forgot my light. But now you can't really see it. But anyways, I made a plate. And you can see my hand. I made a plate, and it's right here. It attaches right to where the turbo pedestal sits, and I'm sure I explained in another video. That's what I'm going to use to take it out. If y'all wanted just kind of like a little how-to on how I made it, throw it down in the comments. I'll be more than happy to show y'all. It was really easy. I just got this piece of scrap. This one, like I said, is pretty thick stuff. Just set the turbo pedestal on there, made my holes, and then I welded I already kind of just pre-cut thing with 3 holes in it, a little strip. Welded it all together since we have access to a handy dandy welder over here. So y'all can tell I like stickers. And yeah, that's how I made it. So right now what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna get under the truck. I'm going to start taking off the torque converter bolts and the engine mount bolts, and start loosening some stuff on the bell housing. And I'll also throw my transmission jack under there just to hold the transmission up. I'm probably gonna take it all the way out and set it down and all that good stuff, just to give it a good power wash since it's full of oil and stuff, and just make everything as clean as possible, because you can never be too clean. So that's the plan for this. So I'm gonna get at it. All right, guys, so I'm back. It's kind of late in the day, as you can see. I got nighttime on me. But a buddy came over, helped him install his cold air intake. Then we went and got food, so I kind of got sidetracked. But I got the engine out, and I decided to drop the transmission, take it off, just because it's a little bit easier that way. Not by much. But here's a 6.0. Here, I put these racks so dirt doesn't fall in there. But as you can see, we got a new cam in there, new lifters. And that plug I'm talking about, it goes right here. The machine shop forgot to install that plug. And that's where the high pressure oil pump receives its oil. It receives its oil through here, and O-ring goes and sits right in here. And due to that, when I was cranking the engine over, like I said, I wasn't building any high pressure oil through the rails. And for those of y'all that aren't too familiar with 6.0s, these run off of a HEUI injection system, and HEUI stands for hydraulic electronic unit injection. So it uses high pressure oil in order to fire the injectors. These are your high pressure oil rails. This is called your ICP, which stands for injection control pressure. And when I took the sensor off, these rails were empty. And of course, while you're cranking, it's not supposed to take super long, or a bunch of cranks to get those to fill up with oil. It takes maybe 3 or 4 cranks of 30-second intervals. And so I was getting frustrated, and I was like, what could it be? What could it be? And I ended up buying a new H-pop, and it wasn't that. So of course, like I said earlier I started looking on the forums, doing research, and finally found out that that's supposed to be plugged off. And such a small thing causes such a big issue. And well, yeah. Oh, and this is a plate I just made today also to get this engine out of here. It mounts up to the turbo pedestal. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the other video or earlier in this video, but I found that up today. Worked really well. Definitely recommend making one, or if y'all want me to make you one, I can make you one and have it over to y'all. But very good little piece if you're pulling your 6.0 even once, maybe twice. I'll go over the fuel system a little bit just to give you all a quick walkthrough of what I did. So my fuel comes in through the back of the heads because these heads are ambidextrous. Same with the high pressure oil rails, they're ambidextrous. The left can be used on the right can be used on the left. So mine fills up through the back, comes out through the front. This is my return on each head. It's in here, you can see it. And then it comes to the regulator. And I haven't set this regulator up obviously because the engine hasn't even turned on, so I'm not too sure what my fuel pressure runs at. When I have the key on, it's running at 45 psi, but I don't know what it is running, so I need to figure that out once I get it to turn on and everything, once I get it to build high pressure oil. But that's what I did with that, and it's not the most inexpensive upgrade to do. I kind of just did it just as, well, while we're here, we might as well. Because the regulator itself is around like $260, all the AM lines, because I wanted to be bougie, and I got Vibrant Performance lines, and those run about like $200 for all the lines I ordered. I ordered about 30 feet of line because I ran a number 8 line from my air dog up to my feed, and then my return is a number 6, and anything on the engine is also a number 6. So of course, the bigger the line, bigger in diameter the line, the more expensive it is. Just more material. It's just how economics go. But that whole little setup probably ran me around $600-700 between all the fittings, the sheathing I got for it, for the hot side, all that good stuff. So it's, like I said, it's not an expensive upgrade to do a custom fuel system. It's not needed necessarily unless you're running pretty stout injectors. I'm not. If I would have known I was going to do a regulated return, I would have gotten bigger injectors. I would have gone 190s, but I went with 175s because you needed a regulated return in order to run 190s. So that's what's up with that. Like I said, the cam is a stage 2. The engine's bore 20 over. I'll show you all over here what happened to the other cam. It was one of these ends. On this end, it had this spot right here. It was going to start to go flat, so the machine shop said, hey, like, don't put that cam in there. So we didn't. And these are all the pistons and wrist pins that are from that other engine, new H-pop. So yeah, that's the kind of treatment this truck is getting. I see it more as an investment because primarily what we do for work is oil field. We're in the trucking industry, so I'm always driving. But if YouTube takes off, I'd stick to YouTubing. I mean, I got tons of projects like I've mentioned to y'all. I got the Mercedes, I got that 12 valve. That's out of my Beetle. That's a TDI, but I threw a new engine in it. That was a cool little build. I'll do a quick video walk around of that, but there's tons of stuff. There's tons of stuff I want to work on and share with y'all and show. So, I hope you like the content. If you did, like and subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. And stay tuned for more videos. Tomorrow I'm going to make another video of throwing this thing in there. So, hope to see y'all soon.